Ciao Milanisti and welcome back everyone. It's been a little bit of a while now. I mean, I'm quite keep up with the calendar because we've been a bit sort of working around what Milan are doing on the pitch because obviously the calendar is so thick and fast with games. The boys have had to push their podcast back a couple of days. We had Bidare join the channel as well with his first video. I believe it was his first video this week. So obviously welcome to him. He's been doing stuff for a while with us. He's been on previous podcasts before. I've always respected his opinions. I've always loved his opinions. So give it a watch if you haven't. I think he released a video out on Friday from this channel. So give it a watch. He gave his talk about the Salzburg game, and I think he's got some more videos to come. And obviously, yeah, my sort of scheduling of videos have been a bit all over the place. Recently just started a new job as well, which has taken a lot of my attention away, but I'll still make videos nonetheless. Obviously, the calendar effect has also affected the schedule as well. So anyway, I'll still be making videos. It's just there probably is no rhyme or reason at the moment. So it's just sort of wait and then they'll come out when they come out, basically. But it will be on a weekly basis. But anyway, on the topic of that, and I don't really like doing this either because I sort of, it takes my mind out of making the content here. But if you haven't already, please subscribe. Please add your comments if you disagree or agree with any of our opinions here. It's always great to get that interaction, that feedback with the fans out there, and it helps us grow as a channel and helps us reach more Milan fans around the world. So please, if you haven't already, please subscribe and do all those things that traditional YouTubers say when they want you to sort of plug their channel. That would be great. But yeah, a lot of things to talk about this week. A few things. I'm going to briefly, smallly talk about the Salzburg game. You know, despite the fact that not a lot of fans want to talk about that, it was a sort of an underwhelming performance, another midweek performance, and mostly importantly, I've just seen a Sampdoria game last night, so there's a lot to talk about in that regard, especially with the referee. And going on to the forward, into the future with the Napoli game next weekend, Rafael Leao suspended. Potential formations we could see because Rebic is also confirmed to not be fit as well, so we have no traditional left winger going into that game. What are the solutions there? What can I sort of pick out of? What can I, find? And yeah, we also have the midweek game against Dinamo Zagreb and also a few contract extensions. So quite a few things to talk about, and I'll try to get through them as much as possible. Okay, firstly, let's get this quick one out of the way. That's RB Salzburg performance, the 1-1 result away from home. Look, Salamaker's got the goal, which is mad considering the fact we hate the right wingers, which is something we're going to come on to considering Macias scored in Sampdoria, which is hell on earth considering the fact that, yeah, these two right wingers have scored in back-to-back games. Tired legs, a good result in my opinion though. Salzburg away is a tough game to go to. Bidare picked up on the week on Friday saying that, look at their sort of unbeaten record at home, recent performances in the Champions League. They're a tough side. They got fast attackers, they do high pressing football in a modern game. Even Pioli's spoken about this before. I see that as a positive result, obviously depending on how we do in the future games going ahead, especially the Dinamo Zagreb game. I'll take that result. Okafor obviously made Kalulu look like a bit of a schoolboy in that move. It can happen, I think there's this sort of there's this narrative that our players are the best in the world sometimes because we hold them to such high accord because they achieved fantastic results last season. And don't get me wrong, I do feel like we have some of the best youngsters in world football. We have some of the best current players in world football. I just they're probably not sung about enough, but sometimes we forget that in certain moments there are also other good players out there that don't play for us who can sometimes make our players look a bit bad, and that's what happened right there with Okafor against Kalulu, and even when he nutmegged Mignon with the goal as well. We just have to admit that sometimes the player that is playing against us is better or good. So just keep that in mind, and don't let that sort of affect the narrative of your opinion about our players, or or make it feel like it was some godly intervention that they managed to score. But look, not much to really go about other than that game. I just think the calendar, we've spoken about this before, the calendar is having this effect on the legs of the players, and the fatigue is something that Pioli needs to address, but it's difficult because players seemingly in and out of being injured or fit. So yeah, it's just one of the things we're just going to keep grinding out until the World Cup comes. Let's get straight into Sampdoria because there's a lot to talk about in this game. Macias scored, of course, right wing, somehow getting 2 goals back to back. Yeah, I feel like hell on earth's about to happen, the apocalypse, a meteor's going to crash into this studio, something like that. So yeah, that's crazy. Good that he got the goal. The whole move as well on the first goal I thought was fantastic. Typical Rafael Leao. Get my words jumping up. Rafael Leao taking it past the right back. Plays it through to Giroud on the quick little through ball. He cuts it back. CDK does the dummy, the feint. Leao, actually, his touch is really bad, which kind of takes it away from him taking that shot. but somehow lands to Macias, who just kind of drills it, low and hard. Always do it that way because I feel like you give the keeper a smaller chance to get to the ball, and he done really well. And the keeper kind of made a mistake with his save, but it was a goal nonetheless. Let's just go through the game. Yeah, we carried on in the right manner. There was a moment where Juricic hit the crossbar. I think that whole sequence came from, I think he could sort of like flick Calabria in the eye a couple of moves before that, and you could see that Calabria was a bit all over the place positioning wise, and that whole move comes down Calabria's right flank. So I sort of put that moment down to that sequence there, that Calabria, even he had to come off because he was sort of, I think maybe, I don't know if it was contact lenses or something like that, but anyway, he was clearly knocked by that bit where Juricic catches him in the eye, and obviously after that move. But after that, it was smooth sailing. We just went on the attack and the attack and the attack, and eventually scored what we thought was the second goal. And look, I still to this day cannot, a day later, I still cannot now fathom the reasons why that goal was disallowed. Giroud was seemingly in an offside position in the first initial ball that was crossing from Sandro Tonali, despite not really going for the ball, and despite it being his like upper forearm being the offside. It's not clear and obvious. And then it gets played out because the defender gets to the ball, even though Giroud hasn't even challenged it. The defender headers it out to Rafael Leao, who crosses the ball back in, and CDK sort of, with the fumble of the keeper, gets his goal. He wasn't offside. So a complete hash from the VAR team there, because there was not a clear and obvious error made by the ref in the build-up. But nonetheless, a goal was disallowed. We carried on the rest of the half. Probably should have scored a goal. Giroud had it when Theo Hernandez kind of got to the edge of the box and crossed the ball in. Giroud had this sort of first time shot, which went straight to the keeper. Should have done better with that effort there to make it 2-0. Go into the interval, confidence, but obviously a bit peed off because the goal was disallowed. And then I was on halftime spaces with Martino and a few of the guys. Fabio did amazing on that sort of segment there. So
Madonna, what a game! What a game! This is not for the faint of heart. If you're a Milan fan, oh my Lord, set an appointment with your doctor. Tell him, what's wrong with you, buddy? What ails you? Tell him, I'm a fucking Milan fan. My blood pressure's through the roof.
Do try to catch us on the on halftime spaces. It's always a good laugh to talk about the game in the moment. And I said something. I'm a bit worried about Rafael Leao. I said I'm worried about these defenders and how they're being quite conniving to catch him out in yellows. The first yellow was a joke. It's just like what defenders are doing right now because they can't handle the kid. They're doing things to feint injuries, and Martinez did this with Theo Hernandez in the derby as well. It's actually pathetic, and it will continue to happen as long as they can keep getting away with it. But got on a cheap yellow card. It didn't even deserve to be a yellow card initially in the first half, and in the second half he goes for the bicycle kick. And look, should you be booked for going to shoot for the ball? He had his eyes on the ball. A bicycle kick, it's for me, that's killing an element of the game. But I understand that it's somewhat reckless because obviously look at the kid who's got hit in the head. He's like bleeding. I can understand that was a yellow card somewhat, maybe 50-50 on that one, but it all goes down to the original error, which was the initial yellow card, and this complete hash of refereeing performance that we saw, which was pathetic. And then obviously the game carries on. They scored the equalising goal, which I initially thought it was offside. Because Juricic was the highest man higher than the centre-backs, but somehow, and I still haven't seen an official replay yet, but somehow the ball was played ahead of Juricic, so that keeps him onside. But anyway, the game carries on, and the corner. I see this has come to a bit of dispute as well. Should that have been a handball? Sorry, was that a handball from the corner? Obviously, Giroud headers it, and then the Sampdoria, I don't know who it was, like Villa or something like that. He handballs it, and then we get the penalty. That is a penalty because the letter of the law is he has intervened Giroud's header with his hand. I don't care if it's intentional, it is a handball and it has stopped the goal scoring opportunity, thus it's a penalty. And anyway, we score it 2-1. Fantastic. And we see the game out. A few heart in mouth moments. There was the bit when I think it was Gabbiadini gets the shot on and Magnan saves it, and then it goes to the left side, it hits the post, and then goes back to Gabbiadini who shoots it straight at Mignon. That was really the one moment I felt like, we nearly lost it there. I think that was in the last sort of 5 minutes as well, but we controlled it really well. I think an element of the game does go down to Sampdoria not really using the man advantage to their disposal. It was only to the last 10 minutes they took another set, I think it was a centre-back off, and committed more men forward, knowing that it would keep us boxed in. Not sure why they didn't do that before. Clearly, they're a lower quality side, and they have an idiot in charge as well. Who the less we talk about, the better. But he did get sent off at the end of the game. Of course, Marco Giampaolo. So we kind of got away with that one. A few things of note. Fantastic performances from the whole team, especially from a heart and desire effort. I thought Tommaso Pobega grew into the game and surprisingly did really well, probably more so well when we went down to 10 men. And especially when we converted to a back three formation because he's so used to it from his previous teams. He had a bit more license to go forward without having to worry about covering space because he had the three centre-backs. His aggression was, very much well accepted. I just thought he was great, and he mucked in, and we saw elements of what he can provide. No, he's not Kessie, no, he's not Tonali or Benacer, but he's someone a bit different, and he's also very young. So give him a bit of patience, let him build that confidence, and let him see some better performances, hopefully. So really impressed by him. Tonali for me, man of the match. Mignon with the double save, brilliant. I thought everyone mucked in. Calabria was great as well. Kalulu with his confidence pressing forward. No one had perfect performances, but it was all around 8 out of 10 solid, great heart to be 10, down to 10 men, also have it equalised, pull it back to the winner and also see the game out. I thought Ranks was impressive somewhat when he came on. He did look a bit sort of like a rabbit in the headlights sometimes, didn't quite know what to do with the ball, but there were some moments where he did know what to do with the ball, so he's obviously clearly excited to be on the pitch, and also someone who benefited from being probably in a team that was playing with a back three at that time. So really happy with Ranks' debut as well. Happy all round with the result. And let's go into, I guess, the renewals. Okay, it feels like Christmas because we actually have 2 contract renewals to talk about in the space of a week, which is crazy. One of them might not be the most exciting, but it's still nonetheless probably something that had to be concluded, considering that his contract was expiring in 2024, and that was the first one that we got, which was Rade Krunic, extending his contract for a year until 2025. As of yet, I haven't seen anything about an increase in money. Maybe that's down to just extending for one more year. I believe the timeline that puts him finishing up with us at the age of 30, in around that age. So I think it's good. I've got a lot of respect and a lot of love for Rade Krunic. I think he offers an element of dynamism to his game. He puts in 110% all the time. Clearly likes him. Plays in 11 positions. He deserves his contract extension. It's 1 year. We're not committing too much money into it. Just makes total sense. But the more important one was Sandro Tonali getting his contract extended, because that was something where, even though we had his contract on the wraps until 2026, getting it done to 2027 adds another year on, fantastic. But it was rewarding the player for his incredible performance last season and also what we're seeing so far this season. He took a pay cut when we bought him outright, knowing that, it was going to allow us to add more quality to the sides for the greater good. This was long-term reward. This was someone who clearly wears his heart on his sleeve, being a Milanista, and he deserves a pay rise. I think the new salary puts him around 3 million euros per year. He was previously on about 1.4, I think, per season. So he's got near enough doubled the salary now. Completely deserves it. He's a top class centre midfielder with the rumours of Arsenal rumoured to be after him this summer. I didn't even sort of entertain it, but still, it keeps him happy, it keeps his project going, and it's just one more player that we don't have to worry about in the next couple of years with his contract. So now onwards to more pressing issues, I think, with Kalulu, ideally Kalulu, and obviously Benacer and Rafael Leao. So maybe with a bit more time of Rafael Leao being suspended now, they can sort of hash something out, but I wouldn't hold your breath open for that. But that's everything on the renewal perspective. Let's look to the games ahead. First one, Dinamo Zagreb. We have that Wednesday, I think, at 5:45 UK time, so that'll be the earlier kickoff in the Champions League, so convert that for your own time zones. Main threats from their team is Orsic. A good player. I've seen him before shock big teams. He did it last week against Chelsea, scoring the decisive goal in that game. I've seen him do it before against Tottenham Hotspurs as well. They're a predominantly Croatian side. They have a lot of Croatian players. That sounds a bit stupid, but it's true. They don't have many foreigners. They're pure Croatian talents. I think it's Petkovic up front as well. They're going to play very disciplined. I think they played with a back three against Chelsea. So sometimes it might find quite hard to break down. But with Leao only playing near enough a half against Sampdoria, We have half a week to recap the players, the legs in these players. It's probably something I was a little bit worried about coming at the end of the Sampdoria game. Look at these players were so spent. Giroud, Calabria, Teo, Tonali. They put everything into those 90 minutes, and also previously been doing that against Salzburg the week before. So I'm really hoping that their legs can keep them going as the games come on, because it's only going to get more and more with Napoli on the weekend, which we'll talk about. But yeah, Zagreb, probably going to be a slight rotation there. Benacer will start, Leao will start. Had a little bit of break there. Hoping, I don't think Origi's going to come back for that game either. Salamakers will start. So we're going to have to rotate where we can, but also at the same time, we have to get the win. We have to get the win. It's a no-brainer. I'm hoping for a big game for Rafael Leao, because he's not going to have the weekend to sort of do anything either. So he needs to go out and just go gun-ho for this game. Show his skill. He did it anyway against Samp, but just keep showing a bit more of it. Keep, accelerate it to the pump. Just go for it. Make up for the legs that will not be around you, because Teos can't keep doing the overlaps all the time. So yeah, the sooner we hopefully get a comfortable win against Dinamo Zagreb, hopefully, the sooner we can start rotating players in the eye for the Napoli game. So yeah, really hope we get that win. We have to get that win, because it looks like the easiest probably game in the group stage on paper. So let's go for that one. But yeah, going on to Napoli, the big factor here is, what do we do with no Leao? What do we do with no Rebic? We have no traditional left winger. Do we convert the formation? Do we play someone else there? Sort of, square peg and round holes system. I think we'll look at both for the reason of entertaining it, because we did go to a back three out of necessity against Sampdoria towards the end of the game. First, let's look how a back three would look in regards to Milan going into this game. It would be, in my opinion, Kaya, Kalulu and Tomori at the back. Teo and Calabria would be the wing backs. And then we play probably Benacer and Tonali in the middle. And then you'd probably do a little triangle up top, whether it's CDK behind, I don't know, who would it be? Well, I would say probably CDK and Giroud up top. And then have maybe, I don't know, Diaz probably behind them. Or probably you'd maybe put CDK in the cam, and then probably if you could get Origi back with Giroud, go for that. That would be the sort of the back three solution. But I don't expect that. I do expect to continue with the traditional formation that we have. I do expect to see probably Salamakers play on the left wing, and it will allow us to completely buy into the pressing game, because Leao does he is let away with a bit of it, because we are able to have Messias come in a little bit more. It would allow us to play completely very disciplined and press Napoli, press their wing backs. And it might not be the most beautiful way of football that we are playing, but it might be effective enough to maybe get a result, or probably get a draw. And then maybe get CDK closer to Giroud as well. He's been playing exceptionally well from a discipline perspective to come back and help out the midfield. Maybe with Salamakers on the left and also Messias on the right. It's not the biggest eye-catchers, but it's enough for CDK to know that he's got a bit more license to roam and stay closer to Giroud, link up there where he can. And it all kind of really determines if Origi comes back. But even so, if he's struggling with muscle fatigue, then do I trust him to start this game? I still think that's up in the air. We might see Diaz on the left. Who knows? There's a few options there. I do think we can keep the same formation, because it's just consistency there. But yeah, there's a few options for, certainly as the week goes on and purely assesses who he has, that he can then ascertain what formation and what team will be starting against Napoli. But it's going to be interesting, guys. But that's it for this week. Glad to be back, and I think I've covered everything. Look, we got the win. It wasn't pretty against Sampdoria, but these are typical tests that test our mental, that test our mentality, our just how we have grown as a side. Because that was a game, we keep saying this, these are games that we traditionally lose or draw. Even against Salzburg, that would have been a game we traditionally would have lost. But we pull out points from those wins. The games that we traditionally draw, we pull out wins from those games. That shows development in these heads of these young players. So happy to get the win, because there's 3 points on the board. Look at Inter, look at Napoli also previously on Saturday. It wasn't pretty for them either. 89th minute wins against lower sides. We need to keep doing what we're doing, get the 3 points, go forward. But until next time, guys, Forza Milan.